We just got the biggest Avengers Doomsday leak yet with new information about the story of the movie, what characters are going to be the main focus, plus more brand new characters confirmed for the film, when we can expect to see the trailer for Avengers Doomsday, and we also got news about Spider-Man Brand New Day and Daredevil Born Again, so let's get into all of this. And we're going to start with the Avengers Doomsday stuff because reportedly Loki is going to have his own team in Avengers Doomsday, but that's not it. This insider was just asked what teams and duos can fans expect to see in Avengers Doomsday, and they said Sam's Avengers, the new Avengers, which is the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, Team Loki, the X-Men, and Doctor Doom has his own team, even though he doesn't really need one. So obviously the two new pieces of information here is that Doom has his own team, which we have been theorizing a lot that he's going to have kind of like a dark Avengers, maybe like an evil version of Captain America, Black Widow possibly. But the real question is who's going to be on Loki's team? Like maybe someone like Mobius and Hunter B-15 from the Loki TV series would make the most sense. Obviously we're all assuming that Thor's going to be a member of Sam Wilson's Avengers in this movie, but that's not a given. Like he could end up actually like finding out, oh, Loki's still alive in the TVA, I'm gonna go be with him, and they're kind of paired up for the rest of the film. I think that would be really interesting, but who knows, we got to see how this plays out. Before I get to the rest of this, I just want to show why I believe this insider. It's the Cosmic Circus where all this is coming from. Like a year before the Fantastic Four First Steps came out, he said, oh, the film's first act has a rapid montage of the Fantastic Four going up against multiple low-level villains, and Mole Man is one of them, which obviously we know that's happened. He talked about Loki being in the next Avengers film, again, months before the cast announcement ever happened. So a full year ago, before the suit reveal of Spider-Man Brand New Day, he said that, oh, Peter's broke, there won't be much of a change from the ending of No Way Home's suit, which obviously we now know is true, and he has a lot of other stuff that I'm not going to go into to waste your time, but I do believe him. Moving on to more stuff he said about the movie. So somebody asked him any ideas on what Doctor Doom's motivations will be in Avengers Doomsday, and he responded saying that Doom sees the incursions that are happening as a danger to the multiverse, and he wants to put a stop to it using young Franklin Richards. He sees himself as the hero in this story and will do whatever it takes to make sure he stays on top. Honestly, the more we learn about the plot of this movie, the more it's making me realize like everybody complaining that there hasn't been as good of a build-up to these films as there was for Avengers Infinity War and Endgame is honestly kind of wrong, because we have been seeing the build-up. It just hasn't been as point-blank obvious as like, oh, here's a bunch of different Infinity Stones, now they're all going to be in one film. But in reality, the setup has been there. It's just instead of seeing Thanos get all the Infinity Stones that we've seen in prior movies, now we're going to be watching Doctor Doom attempting to clean up all the multiversal stuff we've been seeing in all the MCU movies after Endgame. Obviously, Multiversal Madness is the most obvious one, with Clea coming to him and talking about incursions straight up, but we've also seen universes blending in multiple ways before, like Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw different universes converging into one. Deadpool and Wolverine combines multiple different universes. The ending of the Marvels post-credit scene, we literally see Monica Rambeau end up in like the Fox X-Men universe, so all these things really have been being set up, it just hasn't been as point-blank obvious, but now we're finally seeing, oh yeah, it's actually all coming together. Whether this has been their plan all along or not, it actually seems like it's going to work very well to be like, oh yeah, see, you guys thought the multiverse was a complete mess, but actually, yeah, that was a part of the story all along, and Doctor Doom is the one that's like, yeah, we gotta clean this up. And that actually gives us a pretty solid reasoning story-wise for why all these different characters like the Fox X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and our Avengers from our main universe are all in one film beyond just being cameos. Obviously, none of these characters are going to want their or other worlds to just be completely deleted. But let's move on, because he said a ton more stuff about this movie, because someone asked him to list these characters based on the size of their roles in Doomsday: Magneto, Cyclops, Thor, and Monica Rambeau. While he didn't quite list all four, he said out of all four, Monica's got the biggest role story-wise, being the most important, but Thor is going to show up the most out of those characters. Definitely makes sense. Like I said, Monica Rambeau being in the Fox X-Men universe is going to be a huge reason, I'm sure, that the Avengers and Captain Marvel even know that the universes are blending in the first place, but they're going to still focus on the more popular characters like Thor. Another question someone said is, as everyone pretty much knows by now, some of the Earths that will be featured in Avengers Doomsday include Earth 616, 828, and the Fox X-Men's Earth, or some version of it. Any chance you can give us a hint of any other Earth we may visit? He responded, even with Loki's intervention at the end of his show in season 2, the multiverse is still on the brink of collapse, and there's only a handful of viable Earths left. One of the Earths we're going to see is one completely decimated by the incursion, sort of making the heroes understand what exactly they're going up against and the threat of like, oh wait, these incursions can actually just like delete us pretty much. Now when someone asked him about like, oh, can you give us particular runtime guesses for how long each of these characters are going to be in the movie, he said, no, I'm not going to do that, because obviously they're still working on the script for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and that they're just kind of writing the scripts with no real runtimes in mind. Like, yeah, they have the loose goals that the Russo brothers came out and announced of like this one being 2.5 hours and Secret Wars being about 3 hours, just like Infinity War and Endgame, but they're not holding themselves to that. And honestly, I really hope with all the stuff and characters happening in this film, Avengers Doomsday, plus setting up Doctor Doom for the first time, we got to learn all about his backstory and RDJ's connection and everything. I really hope this movie is pushing 3 hours, honestly, so it doesn't feel incredibly rushed. I also went on to say that the X-Men's costumes in the next Avengers movies are going to reportedly be a blend of the Astonishing X-Men comics and the X-Men 97 animated series, so going for that more classic look. Honestly, it is really crazy to think that we had like the X-Men Fox movies running for like 19 years, and we really never got the comic accurate suits in most of those films. Like, it took until Deadpool and Wolverine to finally get Wolverine in his yellow suit, and now these Avengers films for the rest of them to actually get their comic accurate suits. They were also asked about when we might see the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday, or maybe a teaser at least, and while this isn't like insider information, just basing it off of previous Marvel Studios projects, they say that it usually drops around 4.5 to 5 months before the films. And if Marvel keeps its December 2026 date, it seems most likely we'd see the first teaser in late July, and they say, oh, wonder what else is happening in mid to late July, obviously alluding to San Diego Comic-Con, which Marvel did skip this year, probably bracing for a huge one next year, and I can definitely see them dropping the first trailer there. It's going to be right around Spider-Man Brand New Day. The hype is going to be insane. If you've watched my latest videos, I've been talking about all the clues leading to the fact that Chris Evans is most likely in this film, and they even asked him about, oh, a lot of the trades like The Hollywood Reporter have already came out and said Chris Evans and Haley Atwell will appear in Avengers Doomsday, so can you elaborate further on that? And he just says, the end of the world, forced out of retirement, a hero's job is never done. In case you missed it a few days ago, a different insider that I'm not gonna lie, this person's not that reputable, but this thing they said does make a lot of sense. They say that Chris Evans' code name on the set of Avengers Doomsday was reportedly Luke Cage, and this makes a lot of sense because months ago when the movie started filming, people did find like maps of the set, and there was a place called Luke Cage's house, and we even had pictures of it. It was like a 70s style kind of ranch, and a lot of people were just like, well, that kind of makes no sense. Why on earth is Luke Cage gonna be in this next Avengers films randomly? But this would make a lot of sense if that was actually just a code name referring to it being Captain America and Peggy's house. They maybe go back in time and get them out of retirement and be like, yeah, we got to go stop Doctor Doom. Back to the Cosmic Circus, the more reliable insider, someone asked him if Molecule Man, who obviously plays a huge part in the Secret Wars comics, is going to be in the films, and he says no. Someone asked him about like the rumored second casting announcement, and he says they could definitely see them doing that before the end of the year, but it's not going to be as big or shocking. A lot of the characters are going to be ones from our main universe, like Peter Parker, Doctor Strange, obviously, Clea, Monica Rambeau, Bruce Banner, and so on, so on. So not many other people from other universes, but still a lot of big names to still be announced for this film. We do know there's going to be an official Walt Disney Studios showcase happening on August 30th, showing different projects from Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, so they might want to get ahead of this and release some new characters to have more to talk about here. Now, shifting gears over to Spider-Man Brand New Day, we have a leak in the most classic way ever of new toy listing has announced that yes, Bruce Banner will reportedly be Savage Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I really can't believe Marvel and these movie studios aren't more on top of this. Like, every year we get a major leak from like Funko Pops, Legos, action figures revealing like a new character or a first look at costumes before the studios ever announce them. It happens literally every single year. The most interesting thing revolving around this obviously is how is he going to turn into Savage Hulk? The main theory is that maybe Mr. Negative will do something to turn him into Savage Hulk, because obviously right now he's still like Smart Hulk. Update on Daredevil Born Again, straight from the Kingpin actor himself, Vincent D'Onofrio. He says it's very likely that Daredevil Born Again will get a third season, despite recent speculation that the show will end after season 2. He says he's talked to Charlie Cox, who obviously plays Daredevil, and both agreed that there's a very good chance for a third season to happen, which honestly I'm glad. Marvel needs to flesh out these TV shows a lot more, and reviving Daredevil only to bring it back for 2 very short seasons honestly would have felt like a waste. If you made it this far, drop a like on the video, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. We've had even more crazy news, like Ryan Reynolds officially teasing his return as Deadpool in Avengers Doomsday. If you want to hear about that and more Doomsday news, click the video at the top of the screen, or for the future of DC news, click the video at the bottom, and thank you for watching.